Arabia Barbosa 914, which is the county of New York, aka the BT 1000. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to my chat. Welcome to my home. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my life. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. And if you read the title, you know that what I'm getting ready to talk about. And it seems like, you know, there's certain channels now that all of a sudden they want to be conscious. They want to report on Black history, current events that's going on in this country, maybe around the world. But doesn't people understand that Black history really starts at home? It doesn't start in a church program. It doesn't start in the book. It doesn't start in the movies. It doesn't start with none of these things which people call Black history. Black history starts in the home. Black history starts in the home because what happens in your childhood home formulates what kind of person you're going to be in real life. What kind of adult you're going to be in real life. We're not talking about some made-up story in no book or something that's on in a movie or something that's on the TV or none of that stuff. Nothing you find in your phone. Black History Month starts in the home. A lot of people don't know what I mean, but this is why we as a community are so far behind. We look to the outside world for what we need to be looking for on the inside of our own homes. Yeah. It starts in childhood. People want to talk about Malcolm X. Malcolm X is not my father. I'm not related to Malcolm X. I don't know who Malcolm X is. Only thing I know, he was down with the Nation of Islam. He left from the Nation of Islam. And then not too long after that, he was assassinated. People want to talk about the Black Panther Party. The original Black Panther Party that started up as young people during the 60s and 70s. Most of the Black Panthers are either underground now because you don't hear nothing about them, or they are dead, or they're political prisoners. I'm just saying, people talk about Harriet Tubman. I don't know who that is. I know what the history books tell me. But does the spirit of these people live in your house? Are these people present in your life day to day, hour by hour, week after week, month after month, year after year? Hell to the no. We got a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of generational curses are being passed down. No generational wealth is being passed. Recently, I've been looking on the internet and I've been hearing a whole lot of talk about birth certificates, social security numbers, how people really aren't who they are, how we're all enslaved, we're all indebted to the state that we were born in. I don't hear nobody on this platform really talking no real shit. Anybody can get up and give you a speech about Martin Luther King. Is he present in everyday life? Is he really relevant? For real, for real. What did he really do for the Black community? People say, well, we got integration now. What did it bring us? Because the last time I looked, it looked like a burning building to me. Everything in that building, everything he marched for is burning up. a burning house, a burning church, a burning cross, a burning crucifix. That's all. We're still being ruled by the organized religions. The organized religions, they still rule the world. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they all been corrupted. They all been hijacked. People don't know who they really worshiping. They going around worshiping a God that don't look like them. Come on, man. Black History Month doesn't start in a book or movie on the television. It doesn't start by what they teaching you in school. It's what's going on in your home, the childhood home you grew up in. How many of you know how to cook? How many of you know how to clean? How many of you know how to do anything besides dance and do all this other bull jive shit? How many? People like to talk about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I really don't hear a whole lot of people talk about Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer is the closest thing you're going to get to maybe what your grandmother was or your great-grandmother was. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Family is what sparks off everything. What your childhood was like. Because a lot of you didn't have a good childhood. A lot of you didn't. That's why the world is in the spot that we're in now. If you really look at what's going on, this is the month for Black History Month, right? If you have noticed, they have also started showing all the gangster movies. And they keep telling you the same story over and over and over again, that your ancestors were slaves. What were they before they were slaves? What were they? What were their names? What religion did they practice? What kind of clothes did they wear? Nobody asked these questions, but everybody wants to talk about Martin Luther King. Everybody wants to talk about Malcolm X. Everybody wants to talk about Nelson Mandela, Winnie Mandela, Harriet Tubman. Everybody wants to talk about Madam J.C. Walker. It's not who they show you you're supposed to be idolizing. It's in your home. Who was in the home? Seriously. Seriously, who can you really say, okay, X, Y, and Z reminds me of X, Y, and Z? And that's why we got so many problems in our fucking community. We're always worshiping things and people that are outside the home. We're always recognizing what's outside the home. Was your mother a good woman? Was your father a good man? Was your grandparents any good? Were they good to you? Did they teach you anything? Because the last time I looked, ain't nobody teach me shit when I was growing up. Because nobody gave a fuck. And I know I'm not the only one. So what happens? We go to church. We hear this and that. They talk about the Bible. They talk about Jesus. They talk about God. They talk about the angels. They talk about everything that has nothing to do with fucking life. Knowing the year that Malcolm X was born and the year that he was murdered is not going to pay your fucking bills. It's not going to do shit for you. I feel frustrated even going over the same stories over and over again, year after year, year after year. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Seriously. I don't. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. I haven't looked at the chat yet, so I don't know who's in here. I really don't. Matter of fact, I'm not going to even read the chat right now. I'm not going to even read the chat. Because people that really are down with me, they're going to come and support me anyway. I don't care if I get up and do a video 9 o'clock at night. I don't care if I get up and do a video 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's not going to be there. That's why we got this thing called the replay. We got this thing called the replay. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. That's how I acknowledge people when they come in and when they come out. That's it. But I'm just saying, what do we really know about Black History Month? And I'm just tired of this recycled mess. Because if you didn't learn nothing from your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents, what's the point? Because in 100 years, nobody's going to know who you are. Nobody's going to remember your name. Everything that you own now will be gone. 100 years from now, nobody's going to know your name. Everything you own now will be gone. No one will even have possession of none of that. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Where is the Black history? Where is the heroes that's in your house, in your household, in your family, in your bloodline? Because I don't see nothing but shame, trauma, brokenness, people not having no fucking money. That's all I see. And it's generation after generation after generation. I know who my parents are. I know their fucking names. I know what my grandparents' names are. I know who my great-grandparents' names are. I know what year they were born, what year they died, but I don't know anything else about them. And whatever little stories they pass down to their relatives or by oral tradition, I don't know why nobody doesn't write shit down. Why nobody writes a fucking book? We got all the information we need. We don't need to know anything about the Black leadership of the Black community because the Black leadership has failed the Black community. Public schooling has failed the Black community. The politicians has failed the Black community. The organized religions have failed the Black community. What did you learn while you was growing up? Half of us went to public school. So when you get up early in the morning, you got to take your shower, you got to put on your clothes, you got to get your book bag ready, you got to make sure your books is in there, you got to make sure your pens are in there, your pencils are in there, your notebooks are in there. You got to make sure you have all that with you. If you're taking lunch with you for that particular day, you're taking a lunch with you. I don't care if it's potato chips. I don't care if it's a soda. I don't care if it's a bag of cookies. That's your lunch. Okay? Shout out to the chat. Now you go to a damn school somewhere, a public school somewhere. Okay? School might start at 9 o'clock in the morning. It starts at 9. It ends at what? 3 o'clock, 3:30. So you're sitting up there, okay, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30. You're sitting there for maybe 6 hours, 6.5 hours. What did you learn in 6.5 hours? I'm dead ass serious, because when you go to other countries like Japan, Japanese children, when let's say they go to school early in the morning, their school doesn't start until what? Between 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. They don't get out of classes until what? After 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a full day. And they don't have no janitors. They don't have people working in the cafeteria. The students are responsible for serving the lunch. The students, the teachers are responsible for that. They're also responsible for the cleaning of the school. Where in America, it's acceptable for you to throw your shit down because you know somebody else is going to come behind you and clean up behind you. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. What do you learn when you're growing up? Some kids, some of the children I went to school with, a lot of them was into sports. Okay, so they was out there playing basketball, football, baseball. Some of them was into self-defense. So they was into exercising. They was into martial arts. I don't care if it's karate. I don't care if it's taekwondo. I don't care if it's Wing Chun. I don't care if it's Tai Chi or the 52 blocks fighting system. You had some kids that were down with that. They were down with learning the 52 blocks fighting system. They were really into it. And their parents would start them off early. See, in our community, we got everything all fucked up. We got everything all fucked up. Because a lot of these little girls, they don't learn shit from the mothers. A lot of these little boys, they don't learn shit from the daddies. Nobody's being taught how to be a woman. Nobody's being taught how to be a man. Nobody. So I don't understand why we are worshiping all these outside entities talking about Black History Month. Ain't none of these people paid a bill for me. Ain't none of these people did shit for me. None of these people. They fought for my civil rights, but they didn't fight for my social or civil rights to be socially accepted in this fucking country. That has not been established yet. So they didn't really accomplish shit, did they? Everybody know what I'm saying is the fucking truth. I'm just saying, I'm tired of hearing about Kunta Kinte every fucking year. When I got ancestors of my own that were slaves, and I don't hear nobody year after year talking about them. Matter of fact, after a couple of years, okay, my grandmother was talking about it at first, but after a couple of years, my grandmother said she didn't want to talk about nothing that had to do with the past. She didn't want to talk about her parents no more. She didn't want to talk about her grandparents. She didn't want to talk about her marriage. She didn't want to talk about my father and them no more. She became closed down to those types of talks. She did it the first couple of years that I was talking to her. I had a relationship with her. But after that, she just wanted to talk about the church, of Jehovah. She was a Jehovah Witness. She was a part of a cult and didn't even know she was a part of one. Shout out to the chat. That woman died in ignorance. That woman died being mad with the whole world because 4 of her children had passed away and only one was still surviving. Shout out to the chat. Didn't they say that it's not natural for parents to bury their children? Unfortunately, my grandmother lived long enough where she buried some of her children. It happens. That's life. But she didn't see it that way. She actually probably thought in her mind, what did I do wrong? Why is God punishing me? Why is Jehovah punishing me like this? She never thought to ask God these questions while she was here. She never bothered. I guess she didn't feel that she was important enough. If I think that she's important enough and she should have asked God those questions, why didn't she think she was important enough? Shout out to that. Shout out to the YouTube streets. And that's a reality, yo. For real. All right, we got. Hold on, y'all. Just Jay, shout out to you. Letitia, shout out to you. Mrs. V, shout out to you. Purple Heart Podcast, shout out to you. Gwendolyn, shout out to you. I mean, am I right or am I right? Does everyone feel the same way? People want to talk about Black history and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, Noble Drew. It's okay to talk about these people, but for a whole month and nobody has anything to say about any of the relatives in the fucking family? Nobody has anything to say. We got all these dudes. Just hear me out for a minute. We got all these little boys, right? Generation after generation after generation. How many of them go through male training? For real, for real. Because it seems like the Nation of Islam is the only organization where it's encouraged that young men learn about self-defense, how to take care of themselves, and X, Y, and Z. The young women, they learn the same thing. Believe it or not, they teach those young girls self-defense. But when we were growing up, we wasn't taught it's important to defend yourself. I'm like, what are we gonna do if somebody try to fight us or beat us up? Oh, well, just X, Y, and Z. Like that shit ain't real. You better defend yourself. If somebody hit you, you better hit them the fuck back. If somebody slap you, you better slap them back. If somebody push you, you better push them back. Just how like we go after each other on this app, it's just like, if somebody says, well, Arabia is a bitch, I'm going to hear the video and I'm going to fucking respond. Who the hell you calling a bitch? Your mama a bitch. Your daddy a bitch. Yo, and the next thing you know, it's a whole war. It's a war. A war of words. That's not true, Arabia. Just Jay. What's not true? Just Jay, what's not true? I'm just reading the chat. I read what Letitia said a little bit. Just Jay, I'm focused on what you just said. What's not true? I grew up. Oh. She's saying that she grew up a certain way. Hold on. Let me read what she really saying. Because I can hardly read what the poor child is saying. Hold on, you guys. I grew up with, taught me how to defend myself, the men and women, and the family. Okay. Hold on. Okay, Just Jay, I give you that. I give you that. But I'm just saying, does the majority of parents really have their children going through some self-defense classes or taking up karate or anything like that? And the answer is fuck no. Hell no. Hell no. Shout out to the chat. Sometimes you gotta learn some things on your own or you learn it from the people around you. But I'm talking about the so-called Black History Month where we get the same program bullshit year after year after year after year. I don't want to hear about Malcolm X. I don't want to hear about Martin Luther King. I don't want to hear about none of them other people. What did the people in my family do? What did they do? What did they fucking accomplish? Because I don't see them accomplish shit. They don't even know how to pass money down. For real, for real. Shout out to the chat. They died broke. They died not having shit. I'm sure Malcolm X died. People looked out for his family. Trust and believe they did. Martin Luther King, same thing. And everyone else that I'm talking about, same thing. When they died off, if they didn't have anything to pass down, somebody somewhere came and supported the fucking family. Does that happen for me and you? Does it happen? For real, for real. Let's be serious. Let's be honest. Get my glasses. Letitia, I can't find them shits even if I wanted to get them. I put them one place, I can't find them now. I keep switching them. I put my even my sunglasses. I take my glasses, Letitia, I put them in one drawer, right? Then I'll change my mind and put them someplace else. Then I'll change my mind and switch them some. I don't know where nothing is at, Letitia. Only thing I know is where the bills is at. Where my W-2 forms are at, Letitia. You gotta forgive me. Malcolm was on the right track. Okay, yes. Malcolm was on the right track. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about who in the family is like Malcolm X. Is your daddy that way? Is your grandfather that way? I mean, come on. Because most of the men in my family, they was nothing anyway. One of them was I guess my grandfather was a World War II Navy veteran, but he wasn't much of anything else. My uncle, he fought in Vietnam, but he became a dope fiend. You know what I mean? My grandfather was a drunk. My uncle was a dope fiend. My father was a dope fiend. Okay. Then you go on the other side of my family. Okay. My grandfather was a bootlegger. He was a bootlegger. He went to jail for 8 years for killing a man. He got out, and then all of a sudden he became a slave. He started working part-time. He worked until the day he died, and he worked and he worked and he had nothing. He didn't pass down no generational wealth. Didn't have shit. My grandmother, she was broke. That's what I'm saying. I ain't talking about people in history. I'm talking about relatives. For real, for real. Shout out to the chat, if that makes sense. I don't need their validation. You don't need your family's validation, Letitia? I thought we all needed our family's validation. Cause that's how we establish ourselves, as young people. And then when we get our age, we're stuck in certain ways and shit. You know what I mean? I thought we needed our family to validate us. That was my thinking. Yeah, no. They didn't. That's why I'm in the position I'm in now. I wasn't validated, because if I was validated, I would have never went to the fucking penitentiary. That would have never had happened. So validation is important. But I'm just talking about the worshiping of all these outside people. The worshiping of people that don't do shit for us. They ain't paid not one bill. They ain't paid no rent. They ain't paid no mortgage. They're not paying for no groceries. They ain't paying no shoes. They ain't paying a goddamn thing. And half of them people are dead and gone. And that's why this whole sector is all fucked up, and everybody want to be following after goddamn Kwame Brown because they want to be close to a fucking celebrity. I'm glad some people in this chat love their family, because I don't love my family. I don't love people that don't fucking love me. For real, for real. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets, if that makes any sense. I got one cousin, right? Now he is in the music industry. Don't you know he got one of my brothers helping him do some kind of project? And I'm like, why didn't he ask you 20 years ago? He could have saved himself a whole lot of heartache if he would have asked you 20 years ago to help him. He don't really need your help now. Only thing he doing is using you. That's it. He's using you. When something goes wrong, guess what? He gonna point the finger at you. That's what he gonna do. No, only that these people are just followers. I have a bunch of cousins and love all these except one. Okay, laugh out loud. Shout out to you. Yo, I don't know. You know what? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I just had to press the all messenger thing to see if anybody was hidden from the channel, because you know how there's certain people come into the channel and you don't see them right away. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. Yeah. This weather shit is not my friend. This weather shit is not my friend. Every year I go through this. Around February. Every year. If it ain't around December, it's around fucking February. Something always happen where I catch a head cold. And this weather is not helping. One day is hot, the next day is cold. Over the weekend, it started snowing. All kinds of bullshit. You know what I mean? Word. But I'm talking about these certificates and stuff. I've been hearing a lot of talk about the birth certificates, the social security cards, and how to reclaim yourself. I need to hear more about that. And then worrying about who was marching on Washington and who was helping the slaves escape. Because in my family, ain't no slave escaped. There were no escapees. Them motherfuckers are too dumb to run. When sharecropping came, they were terrible sharecroppers. They couldn't even sharecrop right. They became juke joint people. My people became juke joint people. And to be honest, that's why my great-grandfather didn't want my grandmother to marry my grandfather at all. He was like, he don't have no money. He come from the South. Yes, he's tall. Yes, he's light-skinned. Yes, he got that red hair and them red freckles. But the man ain't shit. And he was right. I don't know why my grandmother didn't listen. That would have eliminated me from being born and me and my brother from being born if she would have followed the instructions that she was given. That's what happens when you don't listen. You bring on a bunch of trouble, and then you think you didn't do nothing wrong. I don't get it. I don't see why people. Anyway. Oh, thanks, Ms. V. Ms. V, I'm working on it because I don't want to take no pills or nothing. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of salt water goggles, just trying to keep myself together. You know. I think what did it is when they had that stupid snowstorm, right? It was cold that morning, Miss V. I went outside that afternoon. It was hot as hell. I went to work. Okay, yesterday, I'm going to give you a good example. I went to work early in the morning, right? It was cool. Shit, by the afternoon, it was close to 60-something degrees. It don't make no sense. My granny could pass for but her birth certificate said she was Negro, and let me know she was really, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Just Jay, because I recently been hearing that okay, like you said, on your grandmother's birth certificate it says Negro, but she was really Native American. Same thing with my great grandmother. My great grandmother Barbosa was a Native American, but on paper it says Negro, and she wasn't no Negro. Just Jay, how you? Oh, you don't think? Oh, okay. I feel what you're saying. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Your mama's mama. But see, what I found out, I want y'all to listen. What I found out is that a lot of the Native Americans were reclassified. After a certain amount of years that the Europeans was in this country and they was taking over and they was doing this and they were doing that, they reclassified some of the Native Americans And they, instead of saying they're Native Americans or natives of this land or indigenous people to this land, they write down the word nigger, negro, colored. I got an issue with that. I got an issue with people that just that they, to me, it didn't seem like they fought for their freedom or nothing. It just seemed like they just wanted to march and protest when we should have took up guns and fought our way. You know what I mean? Word. Shout out to the chat, because a lot of people don't understand. They don't realize that during the times of Martin Luther King, when he was out there marching, and the whole world was watching, the whole world, the Chinese government had got in touch with Martin Luther King, Elijah Muhammad, and the other black leaderships that was here in this country around that time. And they was like, y'all never gonna get no freedom protesting, marching, holding sign. Y'all gonna get your freedom by holding a fucking gun, by riding around in tanks and taking your freedom. That's what they said. They said there was going to have to be a bloody war in this country. And there needs to be a war. And I don't mean no harm. All black people need to have guns right in their house. For real, for real. Even if you have to make the fucking gun. Because it's coming. That apocalypse they talking about in the Bible, nah, they ain't talking about no made up story. They talking about something that's real, man. For real, for real. Hey, baby, you must didn't hear my live where was yeah, I was in that live. I had to go back over it. I was in that live. I heard there was so much going on that night, Just Jay. There was so much going on that night. Cause I think you were still fighting with Ears to the Street around that time. Yeah. You had a whole lot going on around that time. Yeah, man. You had a whole lot of distraction going on. And I think, you know what? This is what I still believe, Just Jay. I believe they distracted you because you was getting ready to, because you was already talking about the cults. You was getting ready to say some shit that they didn't want you to say. So they was like, oh, we gotta go ahead and you know. And that's when they started coming for you. Yeah, different ones start coming for you and stuff. Same thing what they doing to Farmer Nancy right now. They trying to distract Farmer Nancy and Bishop from doing what they need to do. You know what I mean? Word. So I see the whole game plan. Yeah, man. So yeah. They ain't. Wait a minute. She said they can't distract me. They did for that little bit of time. Instead of doing your content, you start talking about ears. And then that one time, Iceberg came in your chat and you talking. Ah! Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. Oh, I started laughing so hard. I was trying not to laugh. I try hard not to laugh, but I couldn't help it. I said he caused it on himself. He caused it on himself, and you like, I said, I don't drink. Wait, if you don't drink, you. Yeah, I need to drink a whole lot of water, just Jack. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, man. Whew. I think I've been draining. My nose been draining for a couple of days now. I should have cleared up by now, just Jay. What they got going on? Anyway, so shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, that's the only thing I had to say this evening. Yeah, man. Black History Month is in your house. Not so much in the TV and in the books. It's good to know about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Fannie Lou Hamer and Harriet Tubman. But how many people in your family can you actually say is the hero? Or some of y'all say y'all had it. Y'all had that going on for yourself. Okay. I believe you. But I'm talking about the majority of us that didn't have it. You know what I mean? Because I'm telling you right now, man, I tell you, I was looking on the internet and they were talking about them birth certificates. And then I looked on the end, they started talking about them social security. And I heard the talk been said before. You know what I mean? You know how you hear shit a couple of years before and you like, I don't know what that person talking about. I don't understand what they talking about. And they don't have enough information. They got the information on the internet, but you gotta, I guess you gotta search. You gotta really dig for it. You know what I mean? You gotta really dig for it because it's something with them birth certificates, and it's something about claiming your true heritage. And once you claim who you really are, then you get back everything that's owed to you because they're holding everything away from you in a trust. They're holding a trust for you, and you gotta claim it. You know what I mean? I think I heard Queen Regina mention something about one of her uncles a couple of years ago. He went and found out whatever he found out, and they was able to get X, Y, and Z. He was able to get X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Word. So shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. They said it's the social security. Yeah, they said it's the social security cards. It's something with the birth certificates. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that, but once I find out a little more information, I'll bring it to the YouTubes. Uh-huh. Yep. That's what I'll do. So I'm looking at my fan list is Miss V, it's Purple Heart Podcast, Just Ray, Letitia, and Gwendolyn. So shout out to y'all for coming in. Shout out to y'all for visiting with me. I don't know what time it is. I know it's got to be after 1 o'clock in the morning. Shout out to the chat. All right, y'all. I'm going to close this out. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Before the weekend will be upon us because tomorrow is Friday. Another sucky ass weekend. Anyway, I'm out of here, you guys. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. And thank you for everyone that came in moderating. All my moderators that came in tonight and was moderating, thank you so much. Shout out to y'all. So shout out to my subscribers, my support team, my moderators, and my YouTube creators. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the YouTube streets. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace. One.